legit. On the job, at home, in the street, causing social decay in sweet Grenada today. At 50, at 50, at 50, we're regressing, what a pity. Love this land madly. There are those who's more like me. Watch the colors that we wear inside, yeah. And look at we attire out in the diaspora. But don't get confused, my friend. That's where the romance end. It's glaring. Natural resources disappearing. We would wake up and shift the pin. We're not brave enough. We don't even make a bluff. We don't write, we don't sing, we don't speak, we don't post. But we love Grenada the most. We living dangerously on the brink of catastrophe. At 50, at 50, at 50, Grenada's dying slowly. At 50, leather are gone. I said Jess and Monk at man with wildlife habitat, and we don't worry about that because five-star hotel is it, not the mangrove and dry forest. Because we live in this way, Grenada has hell to pay. At 50, at 50, at 50, we facing a calamity. For parents like we, a rich cultural legacy that makes us stand out mighty proud in any crowd. As Grenadians, my dear, before meals we say a prayer. Good morning, good afternoon, good night was sweet, sweet things. Where did they go? We don't live as we did before. Family structures washed away. Mommies and daddies and all the children's bodies. So they lack respect for authority. School's not a priority. With the way they grow, the future in doubt, I know. At 50, at 50, at 50, we got stuck in infancy. At 50, everyone knows that we refuse to wear we clothes. Males and females want to reveal the jewels they should conceal. And inside the church lately, we refuse to dress modestly. You know, on Carnival Day, everything is on display. At 50, at 50, at 50, we losing our identity.
is a place that is under the sun, 133 square miles. If even though we very small. Come visit, you'll have a ball. I tell you, this is a paradise. A lot of people don't know we have nutmeg and cocoa. That is how we came the Isle of Spice. So in 1974, Uncle Gairy fought for so. That is when we became recognized. But that wasn't sufficient. We wanted independence, so we could be proud like Trinidad. Gairy came back from England. That day was liberation. He brought back the ice, gold and green flag. Happy anniversary to my little country. Now won't you join with me and sing this melody? We celebrating 50. Let us live in unity. Put away political power.
And good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points, our Friday night forum. It's now 13 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. We're sorry for the late start.
Grenadian was still treated as slaves.
But you know it goes transportation-wise sometimes. So, and it's a Friday. On a Friday night, I usually have to, grab a public bus and, get down here.
That is why in 51, the money creators come. He fought to preserve my heritage. He made the whole sky turn red with very little bloodshed. That is when we turn a brand new page. Equal rights was what we want. That was very important.
And of course, we're going to keep the phone lines open for the entire night tonight. 440-7377.
Black people was not relevant. We could not even.
For those of you that were trying to call us last night, you've got the opportunity to do so now.
Happy anniversary.
Just remember, if you're called and you realize I've answered and you're not hearing me on my end, you just go ahead with your presentation.
And sing this.
You may hear me as well as you may not hear me because my system is giving a problem there that I can't sort out immediately, but we will have to.
Put away political party.
In fact, those of you that are willing to help us get a new board, it's not that expensive. It's roughly about 500 US for a board. And I say not expensive because there are some that go for 2,000 and 3,000. We could get a simple one for about 500. Just drop me a message, let me know. I think it's time that we get a new board, This one is making about 10 years now. So I think it's time for us to give it a change it up and so. And I think we have our first call online. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. Good night, caller. Hello. Yes, caller, you're live. You see the listening to the thing in the back. I'm giving time tonight. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Pay attention to the phone. Don't listen to me for me to answer on the radio in the background. Listen for me on the phone. Go right ahead. You're live.
Hello.
You're live, caller. Go ahead. You're live. Go ahead.
All right. I'm calling to say that last night when we was calling to say who was with Uncle Gairy, when we forget Miss Nadia Benjamin in Grenville. Miss Nadia Benjamin in Grenville. She have a business place in Grenville.
Yes, indeed, Miss Nadia Benjamin. Yes, of course. All right, caller.
Yes,
Thank
so
you
that is
so.
what I have to say.
Lovely. Thank you so very much, my dear. All right. Yes, that's a name that we did not mention. Miss Nadia Benjamin. That is a name that we definitely must include. We've got a call online. Good night. Go right ahead. Hello. Hi. Good night, caller. You're live. Go right ahead.
Yes, Sheldon. I want sitting right here, right now, with an NBC woman.
That's a nice thing.
And I'm telling her that the NBC people want to wear black and white for the independence. And she's telling me, no, that's a lie. So could you verify it for me, please?
Okay, my dear. I'll do that when you hang up. No problem.
Thank you.
All right. No, it's not necessarily that they want to wear black and white. They are mostly wearing black, I mean, I'm wearing black tonight, but I'm not in the independence thing tonight. But what has been happening is that we realize throughout the country, I recognize that you're calling from outside of Grenada. If you were here, you would realize that nearly all of the painting that's taking place is black and white. So the walls, the railings, the culverts at the side of the road, everything is being painted in black and white. You'd also recognize that when it comes to the t-shirts that are available, the t-shirts that are available for the independence celebrations from the Independence Celebrations Committee, black again with the independence logo on it. The badges that have been given out, and I need to find out if the opposition have been given badges. A badge can't find way my direction, boy. But the badges that have been given out, again, black background. So it seems as though most of the stuff they're utilizing the color black. I know somebody was telling me today, well, it's a black in the flag and the black in the nutmeg. Yes, but that is not a national color. We have three colors that are national colors. We have the gold, the green, and the red. Or we say ice, gold, and green, as some people have said. Right, but red, gold, and green, those are the national colors that we know of. Black is not a national color. Yet still, we realize that there is a prominence of the color black in most of what's being done. Various people have their various meanings behind it and so on. But we're just stating the fact that mainly what you see going around, you're not seeing any, the wrapping materials around different place in the national colors. Well, not even national colors because it's yellow, green, and red. And that's not national colors. But we have a call online. Good night. Hello?
Yes, bro. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Yes, you go right ahead.
That song you was playing there a while ago, if that government could have put that into use, we'd have a better celebration, get everybody together to work together to make it a unity, a team, something. But they want to go isolated and do their own thing in the abundance of the water. The fools go thirsty. So, hey, I want to come back on my uncle's side. Kami made a mention of some of the things that he did last night, and I want to amplify it because I could remember. Well, I'll go forward and then come back. When I was after the upheaval in town with Bloody Monday and all this stuff, and them, I was going canteen in the wing, making my way down to school. I can't get transport to go to school. When we go, if I get to reach there, we have no teachers, what have you. So I end up cutting out, dropping off that. Trying to find job on island, can't find nothing. Send application in to the defense post by mail, no answer. Trying to send in by surrogates, no answer. One day, uncle passed through the village and he meet my grandfather. And he said, "What you doing?" He said, "Well, I just there doing nothing." He said, "Anybody on work, come along, meet me in the office Monday." So he just rings up me and my uncle. We went down there. Long story short, sent me and my uncle to the defense force, and he went to waterworks. While I was in there, about 2 months after, I get answer from the police department. They're not taking any applications. Come back. Our house in the village, New Hampshire, Northeast, St. George's, the first house had electricity out there. How come? When they was opening the medical station, they string a line from the medical station to a house. And we had that day running for about 2-3 months. So the people that, I'm mixing up everything, but he's coming bit by bit. We going back a bit to what the burial of Uncle, when they're saying that he didn't want what he wanted, what he didn't want. I could remember in these campaigns, he used to be saying, and I think that's what triggered Maurice Bishop and them with the jealousy with all the universities they went to and all the education they had developed. The speech he used to throw on them and tell them, when he died, to bury him in the sea so that the fishes could eat him and eat his brain. So Maurice Bishop then would eat the fish and get the brain that he had so that they could be as wise as him. So I think those things and them was what pushed them overboard to jump to the guns. And if you look at it, the guns that he bring in there, he did more damage to his people and the side of his people than the other party. There's a lot more to say, but a lot of people don't want to call tonight. So, hey, if I was home, I'd go clean up that grave myself. Okay.
All right, my brother.
Have a great
Thank
one.
you.
All right.
Again, too, as we did say, and thanks for your call, caller. As we did say, when it comes to the grave, all they have to do is get the permission from the family. Just speak to the family. That's not difficult to do. That takes you just 10 minutes. You just get a number and you call them. This is Grenada. You can find the family very, very easily. You just get permission from the family. I'm absolutely positive they would be glad to know that some sort of upkeep is taking place in relation to the grave, and so by the people of Grenada, whose independence the person in that grave secured. Yeah, I am sure that they would be happy to know that the people of Grenada are showing their respect for the individual who is there, and they do not need the permission of anybody to go and clean up the monument. Yeah, they do not need the permission of anybody to go and clean up the monument. And for those of you that may not have seen it last night, let me just give you a view again of what we're speaking about when we speak of the state, because it's not just to power wash the area. That definitely has to take place. A power washing has to take place there. The grave itself has to be scraped, but there also are cracks throughout the grave. So that as well has to be dealt with. And let me see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, there are cracks throughout the structure itself. As you can see there are cracks that are running. And this is not only on this end. It goes throughout. You notice that there are cracks here on the top. The slabs that have been placed on the top, you realize that they're showing where they're joined and so on. You're seeing cracks throughout. The area itself is very dirty. As I said, the BRC wouldn't be there very soon because there's a tomb being constructed nearby, which is why some of the stuff that you're seeing behind here, that will be moved out. But even the walls that are behind, the surrounding wall itself that has been put there to demarcate the area, those are cracked up as well. Yeah? So the grave itself, the tomb itself needs to be repaired, and the surrounding walls need to be repaired. The flint, I think they call it a plint, that the tomb is on. Yeah, that needs to be power washed, and then it needs to be painted or so on. I mean, come on, man. We can't treat the father of independence like that. We cannot treat the father of independence like that. Yeah? And I'm pretty sure that it would not cost much to have that done. I'm pretty sure that if various businesses are approached, that they may be willing to sponsor it. Which business would not want their name called as the business that sponsored the refurbishment of Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, the father of independence, on the 50th anniversary of independence? Which business would not want to have it mentioned that they were the ones that sponsored the rehabilitation of his tomb? Yeah? So they can speak to businesses who would be willing to get that done. Yeah, they can speak to businesses who would be willing to ensure that this is done and that it's done properly. Yeah, even the writing to have in fact, not just writing, I think that probably a tombstone or so, a proper tombstone with gold lettering or so on. Yeah, a tombstone could be placed and so on. The father of independence, we have a thing just right up there and starting to fade, and you see the paint after and the paint around it and so on. So come on, we need to do better than that as a people. Yeah, we definitely need to do better than that as a people. You know, I always feel that the people of Carriacou, and this is just a personal aside, I always feel the people of Carriacou do so well because they respect their ancestors. Yeah, they show a significant amount of respect for their ancestors. That is one thing with Carriacou people. They show respect for their ancestors. Yeah? So there are people who have gone to the great beyond since the 1960s and 1950s and before. And they make sure that they go wherever they, even if it's a graveyard, that's a cemetery that's no longer utilized. They make sure they go there. When you see the 1st of November, they make sure they get there. And they light, they place their candles and so on. Yeah, you see the plane loads of them come down. And they make sure that they go and they take care of the final resting place of their loved ones. And even their ancestors they may never have met. They make sure that they ensure that these are well taken care of and they remember them. So we must also continue, because this is part of an African tradition. And we need to continue and ensure that we remember those who have gone to the great beyond properly. Yeah? And this is a classic example of not doing that. And I'm not just speaking here from the family perspective. I'm speaking here from the perspective of us as a people. We need to ensure that we take better care of these things. All right? Nice. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. Also remember 347-329-3101.
Hang out now at 114 to 5. Keep it outside edge on the bridge short.
Also remember, I also showed you all last night the one that's in the botanical gardens and the state of the one that's at the botanical gardens, because that one as well, there needs to be some sort of remedial work taking place there at that facility in the monument that's there. Yeah? So at the monument that's in the botanical gardens as well, we need to ensure that this, that you have the lights there in the bush overgrowing on the lights and so on. At least power wash around it and paint it over. You have the lights in the background here, they're broken, they're hanging down. That's a one-day job for somebody to come and fix those lights and so on. Come on, man. Yeah, the statue itself, you're telling me nobody can get the statue a little clean, a little polish, a little nothing. 50th anniversary of independence. Yeah, and I'm sure you all was looking to go and put flowers there on Independence Day. Either there or at his tomb. Yeah, so that needs to be done. Yeah, that needs to be done. You need to ensure that that is done and that it's done properly. All right, so we cannot treat the memory of the father of independence. We say we're celebrating 50 years of independence. And this is how we treat the two locations where we can say we are going to memorialize the father of independence. The botanical gardens are named after him. And as such, the monument that has been placed there by the former administration, this administration has a responsibility to ensure that that is well taken care of. Yeah? They have that responsibility to ensure that it is well taken care of and that is maintained. And you have some people talking about, well, no, this is the 50th anniversary of independence. You all have $22.5 million that you have budgeted, $7.5 million for August to December 2023. And for the year 2024, you've budgeted a further $15 million, $22.5 million for the independence celebrations. You don't even need the 0.5 to sort out these two. You don't even need 5% of the 0.5 to sort out these two areas. Yeah? 0.1% might work. And you could sort out both areas. But it is to have the will. Number one, to have the understanding. Before you have the will, you have to have the understanding that what is taking place there is wrong. So if you don't have that understanding, you would not do what is necessary to ensure that those facilities are cleared up. We have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Hey, good night, Brother Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
How are everything?
I'm good. Go right ahead.
Brother Sheldon, let us take a look at the two prime ministers that bring the most development to the people of Carriacou and Petermatic. This government want to mention the name in the 50th anniversary of our independence. Then this is the government that these two prime ministers is one that you call them the poor people of the country, prime minister. They do the most to develop the other people life in the country. But this government now, they don't mention the name. You come like this government, they don't care about the poor people, right? And because these two prime ministers, Dr. Mitchell and Eric Gairy, did so much to help develop the poor workers of people. I don't know if that's why they don't want to mention their name, because what they did to the poor people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Martinique. Right? But obviously, the people of Grenada, Carriacou, Peter Martinique will always remember these two prime ministers for the wonderful work and serving with distinction to help better their lives. So, Mr. Brother Sheldon, have a blessed night.
All right, good. Thank you. 4407, but it's not just them. I think that the focus is a lot on an administration that has only spent 19 months in office, and that there are so many other people that have contributed significantly since independence to the development of Grenada, and we are not hearing their names called. We are not hearing their stories. We are not we are not lifting them up as examples to our young people. For instance, if I have to select someone who has been the most unifying focal point of all Grenadians since independence, I would say Carriacou James. Have you heard them speaking about Carriacou James during this independence celebration? Have you heard them speaking of his achievements? Now let me just tell you something. Off the top of my head, Carriacou James was the first non-American to run under 44 seconds in history. Every other person in the 400 meter that had run under 44 seconds were all Americans until Carriacou James was able to do that. I think he ran 43.67. Yeah, Carriacou James was the first non-American to break that 44-second barrier in the 400 meter. Our Carriacou James, from right here in Grenada. You hear them speaking about him? He's one of the only people in the 400 meter to win multiple medals at multiple Olympics. And he has the full suite of medals. So he has a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal at the Olympics. Yeah? So he's one of the only people. In fact, I think he's the only one that has the full suite of medals. He's the only one that has a gold, a silver, and a bronze. There are others who have like 2 golds and a gold and a silver and things like that. But Carriacou is the only one that has the full suite of medals. He's the first Grenadian to win an Olympic medal, the first Grenadian to win an Olympic gold medal, the first Grenadian to win a silver medal, the first Grenadian to win a bronze medal. Are you hearing them emulating? Yeah, is there any sort of emulation ceremony, as they might have said during the Revo? Are you hearing them bigging up Carriacou? Are you hearing them speaking of Carriacou James? So that the younger ones, who may have just been being born in 2012 and so on, when Carriacou won his first medal, that they would know the history of Carriacou James, and many of them may want to be like or better than him. Because either you be like a person or you be better than them. Yeah? Are we doing that? Are we speaking of people, I mentioned his name last night, like Paul Schoon? Yeah? Are we speaking of people like him? Remember the challenges that he was the head of state, not head of government, but head of state at the point in time of the revolution, at the point in time of the invasion. He was the one that had to basically hold the place together after the invasion until the general elections, and served as Governor General of Grenada for many years. Are you hearing anything about him? And there are many others. You even have people who belong to the same NDC party, but realize after the Prime Minister spoke in St. Lucia, realize that he is distancing himself from anything that existed before as a National Democratic Congress, because he didn't have nothing good to say about them. Yeah? He didn't have anything good to say about them. All those who are jumping up with him right now, just remember, if you're an original NDC, he didn't have nothing good to say about you all when he went to St. Lucia. As if he came as the savior for your party. So we have to remember these other people, many others, George Brazan, Ben Jones, all of these people that contributed. We've got a call online. Good night.
Hello, brother Sheldon. Good night, my brother. Good night.
Hey, hey. I like that voice that I hear in there. Let me make sure the volume up there so people hearing you good. Nice.
And good night to the listeners of Talking Point.
The historian.
No, you see, to understand the contribution that Eric Matthew Gairy has made to this country, you have to sort of follow him. You know, you have to follow, actually have to follow the life of Eric Matthew Gairy to understand how independence was achieved for this nation. And one of the sad things is that, you know, despite all the names that they are calling we, the less fortunate, the oppressed people of this country, you know, but it is on the back of that group that we achieve independence. Sheldon, no. If you understand the politics of Eric Matthew Gairy, at the age of 27, he started the Grenada Manual and Mental Workers Union. He fought against all odds, right? And the union represented people from the lowest strata of the social and economic ladder in this country. The scavengers, the travel workers, the estate workers. These three categories of people is whom the union represented. The government at the time, you have to understand, people have to understand, you know, when Eric Gairy came into Grenada, only 4% of Grenada was franchised. 4% was franchised. Poor people had no franchise. And Eric Matthew Gairy fought that we should have a franchise today. The strike of 1951 cannot go unheard of as we talk about the 50th anniversary of independence. We must understand that social revolution of 1951, which people refer to as Carriacou. However, when Eric Gairy wanted to register his union, he was refused by the government of Grenada. So he had to call a strike, and the first national strike in Grenada was called on the 19th of February 1951. The British government sent two battleships into Grenada, the HMS Devonshire and the HMS Snipe came into Grenada to crush poor and ordinary people. The monument in Latin is testimony of that fact. The grave, that monument which represents the Marines who killed people in Latin, Agatha Fraser, Snell Fraser, John Duncan, and in Bradgo we had Eric Matthew. You know, these were the people Gairy represented. However, in the same year of 1951, the union gave birth to the Grenada United Labour Party, the only political party, and successfully so, that was formed by a union in Grenada is the Grenada United Labour Party. October 10th, 1951, that was Liberation Day, when all the people of Grenada became subject of this country, when franchise was given to the poor and ordinary people of Grenada in what is known as adult suffrage. We had 8 constituencies, and the GLP won 5 of the 8 constituencies, and that was the beginning of the political life of Eric Matthew Gairy and the liberation of the poor and ordinary. And today they call us beggy, hungry mouth, you know, all kind of, low class. But on the backs of these people, on the backs of the people of this strata of our society, that we gain independence. Bernard Cord, Howard Blaise, Ben Jones, Jack Deere went to England with the opposition that Grenada should not get independence. They came back to Grenada before, so Eric came and said they did not sign for independence. Later, the next week, Uncle came and he said, we have it in the bag. Trouble started in Grenada because the Grenada United Labour Party, under the leadership of Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, was able to achieve independence for Grenada. You see, in 1967, when the Grenada United Labour Party was returned to office, so Eric applied to England for independence, and that was refused at that time against the background that he did not, his manifesto was not on a platform of independence, and therefore he was instructed and given a condition by the British government: if you want independence for Grenada, it must be on your manifesto, and it must be, and you must campaign to your people about independence, and you must get 2/3 or 66.6% of the seats in Parliament. And that is when the constituencies in Grenada was increased from 10 to 15. Today, we have 3 people who serve in the first cabinet of Grenada. Miss Nadia Benjamin in St. Andrews, from St. Andrews Northwest, was the first parliamentary representative. Franklin Dorland, St. George South East, was the first representative. Winston White, who lost St. Patrick West by 1 vote to Wellington Friday, was made a senator, and the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture was created in the government of Sir Eric Matthew Gairy for Winston White. Winston White was about 25, 26 years at the time. He was the first Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture in this country. And I'm saying again, Sheldon, the Parliament, the independence was won on the backs of the poor and ordinary people of this country. And we must respect that. And so Eric Matthew Gairy must be given his rightful place in the history of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Yeah, have a good evening.
Hello. All right. I wanted to continue, but like you're going.
No, well, you see, because you see, people must know. Today you talk about Carriacou roundabout. Who built the roundabouts in Grenada? Eric Matthew Gairy. The police training school. We have, remember, our police used to have to go to Barbados to be trained after Expo 69, and you had the motels and another building down at Chublu empty. He brought in Olaki Lomi and Houston from Uganda, and the Grenada police training school was started by this man. And Duncan from St. David, who was in the Jamaican regiment, was brought in as the drill instructor. In 1970, so Eric believed that Grenada had the most beautiful and most intelligent women in the world. So he took Jennifer Houston to the Miss World contest in London at the Great Albert Hall in 1970. And Jennifer Houston became the first black woman, making history, became the first black woman to be Miss World. Lisa Jensen from Africa South, because the South Africans started protesting that they had a contestant more beautiful and more intelligent than the one they were sending to the competition. And then they sent Lisa Jensen, and they didn't say South Africa, they said Africa South. And these 2 black women fueled the women liberation movement when they became Miss World and runner-up Eric Matthew Gairy. You know, you see, they put up some nonsense in Dunfermline or so. Eric Matthew Gairy was born in Paradise on the 18th of February 1922 to Teresa and Douglas Gairy. His first job was teacher at the St. Mary, at that time was the Lafayette RC School. Today it is St. Mary's. I mean, we cannot downplay the contribution That's what Eric Matthew Gairy has made to Grenada. Women was not members of the Royal Grenada Police Force. So Eric said that women is equal as men in military, and so women was brought in to the Royal Grenada Police Force. We had no Coast Guard. Our ships were sinking just off Point Sterling. He was given 2 Coast Guard ships, Protector and 2 ships. But remember, one name was Protector and Rescue, Protector and Rescue, and they used to be right by where the Osprey is now docking in St. George's. Easter Water Parade. You understand? Come on, man.
Let me ask you.
To tell these people about the contribution that Sir Eric Matthew Gairy made for the development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. You know.
Caller, let me ask you.
Our governor general today, and I know, and when you go into the political history, that our governor is rooted in the 3 islands of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Her grandmother is from Petit Martinique. Her grandfather is from Carriacou. Her mother is a Carriacou. Her father is from Grenada. Her grandmother was the first woman politician in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Her grandfather, Cyril St. Bernard Sylvester, was the first representative of Carriacou under adult suffrage. And therefore, our governor is fully rooted in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. You know, come on, man. People of Grenada, rise up, understand what is happening to us. So Eric Matthew Gairy was just not named the father of the nation by chance. In 1995, when Dr. Mitchell came into office, the family of Sir Eric Estate took the government to court for confiscating their property during the revolution. The court awarded compensation for the Gairys. Nicholas Braffett, the Prime Minister of Grenada from 1990 to 1995, with help from the GOLP, right, Edgar Thomas and Dr. Gibbs, who won their seat on the ticket of the Grenada United Labour Party, then joined with the NDC to form the first government because they did not have enough seats. Nicholas Braffett said that he preferred to go to jail than to give Eric Matthew Gairy 1 cent compensation. In 1996, Dr. the Right Honorable Kit Mitchell invited Sir Eric Matthew Gairy to the independence celebration, gave him a brand new car, a Peugeot PE 77, and from that they continue to compensate Uncle Gairy according to the dictates of the court. Come on, people. Let live up, man. Let me give the man the flower. I mean, when we're talking about him posthumously, but he has made sacrifices for this country, and we must understand and we must acknowledge the contribution that was made by Sir Eric Matthew Gairy for the development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Land for the Landless program, one of the biggest social programs ever passed in the Caribbean. Today, Grenadians are the largest landowners thanks to the Land for the Landless program. Montu, Grand Valley, Balthazar, Montrich, Mount Horn, and you name it. Land for the Landless program, the greatest social program. We're talking about repatriation, and we're asking the British government to give us a repatriation support for the 300 years of slavery. Eric Matthew Gairy started that movement by giving the ordinary people of Grenada land under the system, Land for the Landless program. So that you have a good evening and let the rest of the listeners.
One final question before you go. Hello? Caller? Hello?
I'm not hearing you clearly.
No, I'm saying one final question before you leave.
Yeah.
I want to know how we get the Paradise, how we get the Progress Pack.
You mean Progress Pack?
I want to know how we get Progress Pack. I hear a story.
Progress Pack, he was on his way to Carriacou. And in those times, Truman Lignum had a gas station right where the Douglas and them roasting the corn there, right? That was Truman gas station. And so he stopped by Truman and they was having a drink there because, in those days, how plain was. And the children of Paradise was playing in the road, playing cricket, and the ball broke the light of his car. And so the driver said, "Sir, look at the children playing in the road, and they broke and they break the light of the car." So he said, "All right, okay. Is this the oldest place all you have to play with all this traffic come from the airport and thing? You all should not be playing in the road." So he said, one guy called Duke says, "Sir, there's a piece of land across the bridge. I was always looking at it and we said I could make a nice playing field, but nobody going to touch it to make a playing field there. He let us go. They went across there and he said, "All right, don't be worried. Don't worry." And then he contacted Norbert Nyack at the time, who was owning the Telescope Estate. But that side of Progress Park supposed to be the last part of Paradise Estate that was owned by Leo de Gale, the then governor, who became governor of Grenada. And that was how Progress Park was started. So Progress Park was as a result of the children in Paradise playing on the road. Today we have one of the best football team in Grenada, Paradise, the Paradise FC. You understand? And that's how it was. You look at the housing schemes in Telescope, River Road, down at Grenada, I mean, come on. I mean, so much things we can talk about. It'll take us a whole day, a whole program to speak about Eric Gairy and what he has done for this, and how he has sacrificed. No other leader was put under the pressure Eric Gairy was put under, and that the intelligentsia and the bourgeoisie of this country never wanted Eric Gairy as leader of this country. Okay, let me give you this last one, Sheldon. No, in 1957, right, after Howard Blaze was defeated by Frederick Bridgewater Patterson Carriacou in the election of 1954, he then joined the Dr. John Watts, the GNP. The GNP was a middle-class party. The bourgeoisie of Franklin Carriacou, L.C.J. Thomas, Bowman Campbell, L.A. Post, and the big merchants never wanted Blaze to be the leader. So they organized a new political party called the People's Democratic Movement. That was launched in Carlton Junction in St. Andrews. That was owned by the Wells at the time where the Cocoa Station is. And that's why Carlton Junction in St. Andrews is known as the Mecca of politics in St. Andrews. So the PDM won 2 seats in 1957. The GLP won 2 seats. And GLP 2 seats, PDM 2 seats, GNP 2 seats, and R.K. Douglas, St. Andrews North won independently, and the T.A. Marshall in the tongue. That was the last time any Grenadian politician won their seat independently. In 1958, the Election Act, a new Election Act was passed, and the Pension Act. These two acts was passed in 1958. Now, that act was passed in order for legislators to become ministers. On the 1st of January 1960, Howard Blaze, Dobry Copeland, L.C.J. Thomas, Franklin Carriacou, T.A. Marshall, and R.K. Douglas joined in a coalition and formed the first cabinet of Grenada, and Eric Gairy and so Joseph Gibbs, the father of the first female governor of the Commonwealth, Dame Hilda Bino, they were in opposition. Right? So before 1960, January 1st, there was no ministries in Grenada. The country was run by the governor, the attorney general, the colonial treasurer, and 3 or 4 persons copped under the legislative council. Legislators was given a stipend when they went to meetings, and everything here was under department. The head of the department, who was then the chief executive officer, trained the legislators of 1957, from 1959 to 1960, to become ministers of government. And so the chief executive officer in those departments then became the permanent secretary when ministries was established. I think we have enough for tonight, children. Another time we'll have some more.
But I don't understand how you just on your own come to think that is enough.
I think other people want to say something, man. But last thing.
I showed you something they want to say is that you should have talked longer.
Everybody, and we can't downplay, the contribution that Dr. Mitchell has played, in the development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. But I'm still looking at Dr. Clarice Modeste, who will be celebrating 25 years as a parliamentarian in this country, the longest serving female parliamentary representative in Grenada is Dr. Clarice Modeste. Mm-hmm. Lady Cynthia Gairy served from 1961 to 1979. The people of St. David voted for the Grenada United Labour Party from 1951 to 1979. From 1951 to 1961 was Sir Joseph Gibbs. From 1961 to 1979 was Cynthia Gairy. And Sheldon, a lot of things people are talking about that. So Eric was defranchised in 1957. So Eric's franchise was taken away from him. L.A. Postal brought a charge against Sir Eric Matthew Gairy. He said that he had his meeting in Lambwood. In those, like I said, we had 8 constituencies. So in St. George, you had 2 constituencies, the town and the parish. Marisho ran in the town, and so Eric ran in the parish. But in 1957, when other political parties came on the scene, L.A. Postal, PDM, he got 940 votes. M.A. Bullen of the GNP got 950 votes. Eric Matthew Gairy of the GLP got 2,900 votes. Yet, they said that the disturbance of Postal meeting in Lambwood caused Postal to lose the election, and so Eric was defranchised. For the election of 1961, so Eric was unable to contest the general election. So Joshua and 2 new constituencies were added to the 8. The parish of St. George was divided into north and south, and St. John and St. Mark, which was one constituency, was separated. So we come and we have now 10 constituencies. The Grenada United Labour Party was so powerful that even though Eric defranchised and was able to contest the general election, the party was led by city barrister G.E.D. Klein and was victorious. G.E.D. Klein, the second chief minister of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Around August of the same year, so Eric regained his franchise. Joshua Thorne resigned and a by-election was called. So Eric was successful, and then G.E.D. Klein stepped down as chief minister. So Eric Matthew Gairy became chief minister and minister of finance. He renovated Montreal and bought a large piano, and that government was dissolved for squandermania. The restoration royal and the furnishing of Montreal, that is what squandermania was. Not that Gairy didn't take no money and put in his pocket and squander it. He restored Montreal, saying today is not suitable for our present prime minister to live in because he has too much low-class people living around that area. The Gairy government was dissolved for squandermania in 1962. In 1962, Howard Blaise, the federation was dissolved. And Grenada was at a political crossroad because our government was dissolved and the federation also folded up. So Howard Blaise campaigned on a unitary state with Trinidad and Tobago, promising the people of Grenada that if you vote for me, I will take you into a unitary state and you would enjoy the same salaries and conditions as your counterparts in Trinidad. That never happened. Martin Gay campaign on, because you see, Eric Williams, after Buster Marty pulled out from the Federation, Eric Williams, with the best mathematical equation in the world, said 1 from 10 leaves not. Eric Gairy campaigned on a federation of Little 8. Today, we have the OECS with one currency, Little 8, a vision of Eric Gairy. Have a good evening, Sheldon.
All right. I'll let you go this time.
we go talk another evening.
I think the day before independence, me and you going to have to do a show. All right?
I don't have a problem.
All right. Thank you so very much, my brother. Yes, indeed, folks. Yeah, that's my good partner that's called the historian. Yes. And I know you're going to hear this, my friend. A lot of folks are very interested. They say you need to write a book. Yeah, they say you really, really need to write a book because a lot of people have just learned a lot of stuff that they never knew before. They just learned some stuff that they had never known before. And we have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Good night, Brother Sheldon.
Good night, Honorable Dr. Clarice Modest.
Point family. It is indeed a pleasure to go back to school. You know, every day in our life is supposed to be a learning day.
Mm-hmm.
But in these last few days, I have learned so much. I listened to Andre Donald's program this morning with Master Carl and Igwe. And, you know, so many important achievements that, you see, after years of exposure to a certain thing, we all begin to take it for granted. And we do not question, how did that happen? Who was involved in making these things happen, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And so we take them for granted and we take them as simple things, which for us, we don't see it as being important because we either met it there or we became aware of it at a certain early point in our lives that we take these things for granted. I want to beg Grenadians not to take the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors and even persons who are living now. Let us not take it for granted. And I don't know, I was looking at the comments on the chat, and persons were wondering what was the name of the speaker. I'm not sure, because I was in and out a little bit. I'm not sure if his name was mentioned.
Mr. Brave
but
Boy.
I think it needs to be mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And number one. And number two, I think I want to challenge NNP to bring together historians, official and unofficial. I don't know if Mr. Braveboy is an official historian, but oh my goodness, the wealth of information he has shared tonight. I'm sure everyone on this platform, everyone listening, would have learned something. Some persons may have known some of it more than others, but Mr. Braveboy, hats off to you. And this is something that we need to be teaching our children, our young people, even adults who may have forgotten or pretend that they have forgotten. We need to remind them of the contribution. And on Tuesday, when I went to the Point program, the first person I spoke about as deserving of more recognition or deserving of our recognition, because I don't even think he has gotten anything thus far of significance. I, as a child, we used to call him Uncle Gairy. And I still think of him as that very fondly. And, you know, we hear of his achievements there from this gentleman. And we have heard a bit more on different occasions. I want to add to that, and I'm not sure if I missed it, St. George's School of Medicine.
He didn't speak of that one and the challenges that Uncle went through for that.
Oh my
The
goodness.
challenges
The
that he went through.
challenges and the fight offshore school that could never work. I think that was the first offshore medical school in the Caribbean. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it was. And
Or the OECS at least. It was the first. And that time they said he was a madman. It couldn't happen. But look what has happened. It has blossomed from a medical school into a General St. George's University, where a number of different specialities, areas are being taught. And look at the rich mix of expertise that we have in Grenada, of local Grenadians. And even maybe we have more abroad who learned here, unfortunately, and exported.
Doc, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there a building or something at the university named after Sir Eric? At the True Blue campus, I think there is something named after him down there. And I have to double check. One of the students messaged me.
To be.
Yeah.
There has to be. And, you know, this thing is not about who you like, or who is your friend, or who you respect, or who belongs to your party and who doesn't. This thing is about history and who has made the difference. And so people who have not earned that kind of respect as yet should respect those people who have earned it. And speaking about Eric Matthew Gairy, I want to mention a very good friend of mine, well known in Grenada, Sister Brenda Hood, because I heard you speak of the image that is of Uncle Gairy that is in the gardens. That happened when she and I were in tourism and culture together, and Sister Brenda Hood spearheaded that and did most of the work to ensure that this monument was put there in his name. And when it was built, we have a way of just looking for the negatives. Oh, it don't look like Uncle Gairy. That should have, maybe he should have been taller, he should have been shorter, he should have been fatter. But I think this is a remarkable homage, shall I say, respect that was paid to him. And more of that, maybe if we had something like that done where I saw a little thing, a little kind of billboardish kind of thing that was put up there. Maybe if they had used our example, because you have, after all, you have $15 million.
Well, $22.5 from what I'm gathering, because it's $15 million for this year and $7.5 between August and, well, at least that's how I'm checking it. So I need to make sure.
Well, when it was raised in the sitting of Parliament where I was, it was a 7.5. That is in October, which had not been used yet. But they kept saying that it had been used over 2023, and up to now I haven't received the enlightenment as to what it was used for. And we are now in January of 2024, and so there is another $7.5 million somewhere to be used. Whether the amount is reasonable or unreasonable is not so much my issue. My issue is what it's being spent for, and whether it could be more effectively and applied to the whole concept of the one people thing, the one journey. But not only that, to leave some mark, because after 50, 51, 52, how will we remember this year, this 50th year, 2024? Because if you're going to honor what has happened before, you must honor it with things that are going to be memorable, that are going to live on. And so I don't want to forget this challenge for NNP. And not just NNP, for Grenadians. Because sometimes you have to leave those heavy lines and really and truly identify as one people, one nation. So there's so much history that is not documented. And there are still so many people who know so much. Some people may not have said anything yet on your program, but so much has been said on yours. So much has been said on other platforms, Real FM and so on. I really think it's time that we document our history, because if we do not, a nation that does not document and ponder and learn from its history is doomed to failure. So I think in this year, this 50th year, let us have some kind of session, some kind of forum where persons who know something that they consider important to this country could come together, and so that we can identify those people first. And secondly, have some scribes there documenting something, and let this be the beginning of putting our history together. They kill me with Francis Drake and all kind of people, all kind of history. It's a good thing the brain doesn't hold everything, because I would have been dead by now with all of these people, and some of the things that may have been true, some of the things may have not been true, but that is what we learn. But here is the rich history of Grenada, where so many of the persons who have gone before us have contributed so significantly to make a difference in our lives today, and to make Grenada better for our children and our children's children, and it is not documented. I also want to say that as a part of our history, the Fort George that is now being refurbished, that or restored, that project came from NNP, right? And the approval from the World Bank was given to NNP. And therefore, this project is an NNP project. I don't care what anybody says. If they can prove they're the ones that went to the World Bank, if they can prove that they are the ones who brought them down here and showed them the importance of that history. And we are the ones who documented, or the documents we found on the fort, that were found on the fort, they are now digitized. And so they are in print, hopefully for posterity. But more has to be done with it. So I think I have said enough on that. I'm sure there are others who want to come on again. But I really want to compliment Mr. Brave Boy. I think that is who you said it was.
Yes, Mr. Delbert Brave Boy.
And the other Grenadians I have heard relating so many important events in the history of our country. But I do not want us to stop there, because none of us is here forever. And we would want that, and whatever else we know that is important for our children and our great-grandchildren to know, let us put that in some kind of document that, well, a history book, in other words, history book of Grenada, that would be there for others to share, and not just Grenadians, but there are other people who are not Grenadians but might be interested. We know the history of several countries and other things and places, and sometimes we don't know our own history. So let's safeguard that, let's protect it jealously, and let us do something about it. Maybe a portion of the 15 million or whatever more as we count could be used for that purpose. And I would think that a money spent on documenting our history would be money well spent.
Doc, I'm not going to let you run off on me just like that, because one of my favorite activities for the year, I believe it's now on the cultural activity schedule for Grenada, that being the Breadfruit Fest. Hello?
Yes, yes.
The Breadfruit Fest is now on the list. So what's taking place?
Breadfruit Fest now is something that I am proud to say that I came up with, because I love breadfruit. Make no apologies for it. I like my oil though. But the thing is, so many times you hear people say the child don't like breadfruit. You know, the child will eat this local food. And it was not just out of a passion for breadfruit, but a passion for local food, because that's how I was brought up, to eat our local food, the ground provisions and so on, the pak choy, and all of these things that are good for us and good for our economy. And so I thought, well, around independence, usually what the breadfruit is used for is oil dog. And I have no quarrel with that. It is our national dish. But in order to get our children who don't like oil dog or who don't like breadfruit, when it's steamed or whether it's in soup, to like it, we have to, we have to find ways to use the breadfruit. And there are so many ways. And in discussing it with a group of thinkers, some friends of mine, we decided, first thing they said was that oil dung. Then I said, but oil dung is not broad enough. Let us do a breadfruit festival where we could do all things breadfruit. And then I learned about breadfruit punch and breadfruit ice cream and breadfruit gnocchi or some kind of fancy word, and all kinds of dishes. Well, I didn't know about breadfruit ball and so on. Mm-hmm. But the real tough roast breadfruit and thing, I certainly wasn't into that. And yes, last year I had a taste of the stuffed breadfruit, and oh my goodness. And so recipes keep pouring. Mm-hmm. As friends saw recipes from other countries they sent it. But locals have their own recipes too. And we got people like Dr. Guido Marcel to come and talk history and so on and so on and so on. So let me make it short. The thing is, fast forward to 2024 now, independence. We thought, based on the success we had, we should do it again. And so we're working on it for the 9th of February, 2 days after independence, because leading up to independence, we thought we should respect whatever national events there are, and hopefully there will not be any national events on the 9th. People might be recovering from independence. But I want to invite you, Brother Sheldon, and everyone listening, and those who are listening, tell others. We have flyers, and I hope you have one of our flyers, Brother Sheldon.
I have not seen it yet.
Okay, so I'm going to send it to you now, and please feel free to share it.
Within seconds, I know that will be fixed. Somebody go send it.
But we're going to have all things breadfruit. So we have invited the schools, as far as TAMCC, to those who have hospitality departments in the institution, to have the students come and share what they have. If they want to demonstrate how to do it, they can do that. And if they want to sell it afterwards, they sell it. If they just want to do tasters, they can do what they want. But there'll be a wide variety of all things breadfruit to see. There will be recipes. There will be persons with expertise in the culinary arts who can explain certain things and teach people what to do. There'll be a video running so that persons can see what it is. And we'll have someone who has the knowledge of the nutritional value of breadfruit and the environmental resilience of breadfruit. There are so many things, but let me make it short now. We are the people of St. Mark. We are inviting everyone to come to our breadfruit festival on the 9th of February. We start at 11. So if you want lunch, you can come and have lunch. We will have some little cultural activities, honoring our country, patriotic things on our country. We expect to have some nice music for persons to enjoy. We have invited the hotel sector, and I hope that some of them will encourage their guests to come to that, because I think that has great potential as another attraction for our locals who always take part in good things that Grenada has to offer, and for visitors alike. So, Brother Sheldon, for the next few days, I expect to be hearing about Breadfruit Fest.
You definitely will. You definitely will.
Repeatedly. And I hope all of you can come, because there's so much to learn about breadfruit. If you don't like it one way, you are certainly going to find a number of tasty dishes that you will like when you come to St. Mark.
Yes, and I must say that I was very impressed last year with the Breadfruit Fest that was held last year and so on, the many different uses of breadfruit and so. I hope somebody gets the opportunity to make some breadfruit flour because you could make flour, cooking flour to use in bread and different things. You can make it out flour out of breadfruit. You could actually make ketchup out of breadfruit too. There's a
When
form
you
of
see
ketchup you
that,
could do
I
with
didn't know
breadfruit.
that.
Yeah, you can. You can
But
use it to
in
make
terms
that.
of the flour, while we did not, and I don't know if anybody's going to be making breadfruit flour, but we utilize breadfruit flour because there are a number of persons in Grenada who make breadfruit flour. So we have been making contact with them. Last year we purchased breadfruit flour from persons. So that person who needed flour could use it in their dishes. And that's what we're going to continue again to do, to utilize the breadfruit as much as possible. And there will be oil down as well. We can't forget the great old oil down. But come and savor the breadfruit punch.
Of course.
It will be wonderful. And breadfruit ice cream.
Dr. Modest, one little question, or for the Breadfruit Fest or for the other things there. Have you finally gotten pins? Because I'm seeing the pins all over, but I ain't getting a look at pin. Have you finally got your load of pins and so?
I got some pins, but I'm sorry for you, Sheldon, because you're not living in St. Mark.
Oh gosh. I don't in the south, maybe I'm in the wrong area.
You know you will get your pins. I believe by now all 5 of us MPs would have gotten pins. We didn't get it to pin on the school children in the schools, in the secondary schools. We were not invited to do that, even though there was a nice advertisement saying that MPs will be out there pinning. But we got pins, and we are patriotic. And we will ensure that the pins are distributed so that those who want to proudly wear their pins can wear their pins.
All right. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so very much, Dr. Modest. And this is just your Friday night forum caller. Me and you have a date, not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. All right?
I will be with you. And Grenadians, this is our 50th anniversary. I want to encourage everybody. Let us enjoy it in our own way. Let us savor what has happened in our beautiful country, our history. All of it has not been sweet, but it has brought us to where we are, and it has strengthened us and made us more resilient. And let us remember, it is one people, one nation. And let us just ask God to bless this country so that we will prosper, even under adverse conditions. Blessed night, everybody.
Thank you so very much, Doc. And folks, we've been speaking with Parliamentary Representative for St. Mark there, Dr. the Honorable Clarice Modest. And I think we have a caller nearly immediately. Yes, hello, good night.
Good night, Brother Sheldon. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Boy, tonight, you had a very good program tonight, man. When you hear you bring Mr. Brave Boy on, like you bring the whole of Grenada in one man.
Yes, man. And you know, I was right.
Man, you know,
there is a...
I'm begging that man to write a book, man. and he still miss out, you know. He miss out Expo 69. He miss out the Easter water parade. You understand? Mm-hmm. He miss out, and then he miss out again on the radio station. We had one radio station, Wibs, in Grenada, and the other Windward Islands, Grenada was the number one. And everything based in Grenada. You understand? People like Lou Smith and Paul Roberts and them could talk more about that. You understand? And at one time, I think we were the smallest island in the Windward Islands, and we had the most people at the time. Dominica had the least. All those things Grenada have to know, especially the youth. So I like Mr. Brave Boy. Anytime he come back on, he go in like that more. And Trinidad, Grenada, and Tobago. You understand? Mm-hmm. And he had to tell us what part of Carriacou St. Vincent own. There's a part in Carriacou belongs to St. Vincent. All those things the kids have to know. You understand? Mm-hmm. So And another thing before I go, Sheldon, we must talk about Donald Pierre. If there's no Donald Pierre, there will not be no Kirani. When Donald Pierre and Ford and the guys beating the road, I didn't think you were born yet.
Mm-mm.
You understand? When the man had to go by Mammy May, right by the Humbug Bridge and eat a fish cake. And then, because I used to work with Tony Henry, give him a job, they used to sell ice cream and things. You have to remember all those things. Roy St. John. What you see in Canton today over the playground with, that was a lagoon. Sheldon. Roy St. John, by the tunnel. If it wasn't for Roy St. John, you would have an Esplanade Mall. This man was dumping stone back in the sea. You see? This is the thing we have to talk about. But instead of that, we just, go set a garbage. We have a lot of people in Grenada who work hard. And we need to call their name.
Yes,
we know the
indeed.
godfather is Eric Matthew Gairy. Because what he stand for him for the airport, that airport, you see, we call him Moy Bishop. That man go through there. I can offer that little boy. And that man, that was his dream. To put that airport there. So we can't stop talking. We can. You talk about up, up, up. That the name will have to keep going up, up, up. Anyhow, Sheldon, have a good one.
All right. Thank you so very much, my friend. 4407377 and 347-329-3101. And just for folks' information, I was correct. There is a building named after Sir Eric Matthew Gairy at the St. George's University. I presently have it up on the screen. The Sir Eric Gairy Hall. So there is a building named after Sir Eric at the St. George's University. All right? Because remember, Sir Eric was the one that got the St. George's University into Grenada. They said, well, what madness he doing? And then remember, there were people that were saying all sorts of things to prevent that university from being set up here in Grenada, like you're going to bring diseases and so and the cadavers that have to be used by the doctors. All sorts of things were said. Well, we have a call online. Hello, good night.
Sheldon?
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Good night to you, sir.
Let me make one little correction to your historian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Go ahead.
The Yusin, Commissioner Yusin, and Uyakilumi, they didn't come from Uganda. I think your historian say Uganda. I think they came from Nigeria.
Nigeria?
Yeah, Yusin was the commissioner. Uyakilumi was the deputy commissioner, and he was the commandant at the newly training school that they established in Chublu down there.
Well, we could confirm.
Because I trained down there during that time with them.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make that little adjustment. So let me recheck the facts. But that is correct.
All right. Thank you so very much, my friend.
Let you know that was going on.
Of course. And we love that. Thank you so very much. Yes, indeed. Yes, folks. 440-7377. That's 440-7. Let me make sure the phone lines are clear. 440-7377. That is the number for you to call and get onto the inside and information left, right, center, front, back tonight and get in it. All directions tonight. Yes, front, center, back. There were some things that the historian mentioned. I don't know if a lot of people picked up on it. Let me just show you all another picture of the Sir Eric building down there at the St. George University. Yeah, another shot of the building that is named after Sir Eric Matthew Gairy down there at St. George University. All right. Yeah, let me just take this phone call. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. Hello, good night, caller. Oh, this one.
Yes, good night, Sheldon.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead. You're live.
Yes, I want to also confirm that last caller, the commissioner and deputy commissioner was using an Uyakilumi.
I know that voice.
Yes, I know you know that voice. I was trained with that people. I was trained with a commissioner of police in Tublu.
All right. So you're also confirming that they were Nigerian.
Yes, they are Nigerian.
All right. Wonderful. So you knew the two gentlemen.
I trained them. They trained me.
Okay.
And also, I want to make a mention about Sir Eric Gairy. What I do remember at Montreach, St. Patrick's, Gairy said, a gentleman came and said that Uncle Gairy, the children of Montreach like to cause a lot of bad words. And Gairy said, if they remember a bad word, they could remember a good one. Is there any school around? And they said, Teacher Agneta Harvard is a private school. Any big building around? They say, yes, in Elie. And he ran that building in Elie. And that would give birth to the Montreach pre-primary school up to this day.
My goodness. And I hear these little tidbits because I heard the one about how we got Progress Park. This is the first time I'm hearing the one about Mount Rich.
Yes.
This is the first time I'm hearing that one. Thank you so very much, my friend, for your input.
Man, this was the greatest man that ever passed on this earth. And if I want to praise him under the Morris regime, and if they say they jail me for being a supporter of Gairy, and Jerry coming back, I'm going back there again. Now, I'm telling you, I remember Expo 69. There was jobs all over Grenada. The biggest onion I saw on Irish potato was right in front of bananas in those days. Biggest. Every Saturday, you have Gairy going around with meeting people's store, meeting the old people, you know. And it was everybody's uncle. But what they did, they really educated children against Gairy. And I think what your program is being enlightened. I want to thank Mr. Brave Boy for getting the kids, getting the people to know the real truth. And I know that the truth will come out. And the truth will set us free. The truth will come out, child.
Let me ask something. Are you seeing what they're attempting to do to Dr. Mitchell being the same thing that they did to Sir Eric Matthew back in the day, that they tried to demonize the individual?
Of course. Of course, it's the same trend that is happening right now. You know, we forget all the good. You know, I see Easter Water Parade. Now I remember when on the Esplanade was seawater. You know, look at it today. The bus terminal they're enjoying today. You know, when they say it's going to float down the sea, give Jack his jacket. Give Jack his jacket. We can't go along with that. We can't make a man a hero because he overthrew a legal government. The revolution was not justified. And now we're going with this. This is Grenada's independence, 1974. Was in the dark night. I remember that the first time I was seeing fireworks, I almost run to bounce my toe, you know. We had to demonstration and we were working police in them days. Telephone gone. Santa had to use his bike to go up the fort and down to South Central to let people know what going on. Just for us to get independent.
So you were a police officer at the point in time that the independence ceremonies, everything were taking place?
I was standing in Queen's Park of 1974 as a cop.
And let me,
I was there.
Do you know who the officers who raised the national flag for the first time? Do you know who those officers are? Do you remember who those officers were?
I don't remember, but I know the lady who sang the national anthem that night is still living.
She's still living.
She's still living.
Wow,
She lives somewhere in Donma.
That lady, you need to make sure that people know that name and that we locate that lady. You can't let that get away. That's the first time the national anthem was officially sung, you know. And the person's still alive?
She was a nurse. She's still alive.
Now, you have to pass that info, brother.
Yeah.
You have to pass that info on to me. We have to find that lady and get her to talk.
She was my mother-in-law.
Well, no wonder you remember the lady.
Exactly. She was a nurse and she sang out on that fort in that dark night under the generator to give independence today. You know,
goodness.
We gone back almost 50 years, man. Look at the bridges. Look at those things that we're doing. We need to go back in school, Sheldon, to educate the people. Let the youth know the truth. What happened, and let it have the history. Don't let her dead. Don't let her dead. That's just come as a... Imagine that you are 49 years of age now. You know nothing about the independence. You know.
And that's a person who's nearly 50, yeah?
To make Gairy look bad. They have to justify to make Gairy look bad and make Maurice look good. So they force the children to lie, educate them, and say, this man don't good, he don't good, he don't good. So the history gone down the drain. But he's coming back.
And as long as people like yourself continue to call and give the anecdotes and give the true history of Sir Eric Matthew Gairy and all his achievements and the achievements of his government and so on, then the real history, because I keep speaking about the oral history, that we need to be speaking with our children so they know and they understand, because the same methodology that was used to demonize Sir Eric is the same methodology that they're using right now. In a modern sense, they're using social media, etc., the new methodologies that they're using, but it's the same tactic that they're using against Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell to try and demonize him. Yeah?
In 1969, Sheldon, 1969, Expo was there, and we had cable and wireless booth. And I was seeing somebody, the person I was speaking to, I was seeing them, and they were seeing me. 1969, never known would I wish today to see what WhatsApp and everything is all about technology. It was down in Expo, 1969, under Gairy. When Gairy talked about the UFO, all Gairy wanted, and they say he crazy, he got the UN and he talking about UFO and all that kind of thing. And all he man wanted to have a resource center in Grenada to research what happened up there. How we get you with this thing? Look at today, America spending billions of dollars and asking about UFO. The man had vision. The man was a visionary. And as far as I'm concerned, there were two people in Grenada who has vision. So you know what happens down here now? Look at the School of Medicine. I was trained down there. Look at the School of Medicine today. Huh? Under Gairy, I remember when they go in and say they want to experiment on dead people. Grenadians, let us come out and let people know the truth. And when something is good, it is good. We did something, that man did something where it's good, it is good. Not because you're from St. George's or you're from XYZ. You know, I look at the unveiling of this Black Day with Gairy. I mean, where's my Kabaki? We still dress like Gairy. You know? What is Jerry Romaine?
I
Those are heroes,
saw
man.
Uncle Jerry a few months ago. I call him Uncle Jerry, and I saw him a few months ago. He's there. He told me one of these days, anytime I feel like passing by, just pass by and check him.
Yes, man.
So he's there in Belmont, yeah.
And you must pass by too, man. Long time I see you, man.
When I'm mobile, you know, I would fall in, but these days, you know, the bus thing. So, but you're gonna see me, my brother. You're gonna see me soon.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you so very much for your input. Yeah. All right. Thanks. 440-7377. Oh, I'm loving it. I don't think I could finish at 10. I'm going to have to go a little after 10 tonight. Yeah. Now with that kind of information coming in, I can't finish at 10. There's a story in relation to Uncle Gairy and the UFO and thing, but I don't have it with me tonight. I can't go over it tonight. But what I can do, excuse me, is remind you all of Breadfruit Fest. So remember, it's coming up on the 9th of February, Friday the 9th of February, and roasted breadfruit, all different type of breadfruit, man. You come up and you go see breadfruit in your breadfruit. We have a call online. Good night.
Pleasant good night, my brother. How are you doing?
Man, I am ecstatic and nice and happy. I'm really glad I'm doing a Friday night program.
I'm only 41 years old, but I think I just tell people I remember this man, and they tell me, nah, too young. I say, nah, I remember this man come and bring, you know, they used to have a thing called Independence Street.
Yes.
Yes, and he's some hard business. I remember that. One nostalgia I want to mention that my grandmother, my mother, she's young too, but she said her mother told her, Gairy, well, Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, excuse, he said he's going to walk on water, right?
I think I got the full story on that one.
Eh?
I must get the full story on that one. I'm going to ask Mr. Brave Boy to give us the full story on that one.
So she tell me when Uncle stretch his foot, about to walk, turn around and he say, there is a sinner in the crowd. And one last story, Paul Roberts, so he was in radio from ever since. And Paul told me when he's reading something on air, those times there, if the Prime Minister himself, which was Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, gave them a press release to read, and he says as Prime Minister, he would listen to see if they make any mistake. So now one day he was reading out a press release on the radio, on the air, and he made a mistake. He said, so Eric Matthew came in the studio. he said, young Robert, you have to read that over. Have a blessed night, man.
Right, thanks.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. 440-737. Did I call the right number? Yes. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. All right, those are the numbers that you can call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yes? Yes, indeed. And let me see if we have a caller. Hello, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Hi, good night, caller. You go right ahead.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Expo 69, man. I was going like a child with my mother. I was in that.
Okay.
And all like that. And the fighting against Gairy with GMP is automatically is on our hands today. So I have one of my brother in 73 while fighting Morris Bishop's father. He had to jump over that long wall up in Fort Frederick and run for his life. Automatically, he still gets wounded in America in the World Trade Center bombing.
So that's the brother that you have that died in the World Trade Center?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, so at the end of the day, it's not now GMP children doing their stupidness and automatically they still turn back today and continue, and they never like good for Grenada.
All right. Okay, my brother. Thank you. Yeah, 440. I remember that that particular caller. I know he has a brother that died on September 11th at the World Trade Center. I think he used to work windows at the World, and when the Trade Center went down, he died. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. And we have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Good night.
Hi, good night.
You know, we trying to glorify Jesus. But let us go back to Squandamin. Let us go to the Duffers Commission of Inquiry. I have a copy of the report. Let us talk about the eradication that was found in Mount Royal. Let us talk about the album. Let us talk about these things. Not only the good, we need to talk about the bad as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, my brother. Hello? Hello? Yeah, well, when it came to the album, they talk about album, it never show up. It reminds me of some people that are talking about tape, they talk about tape, and it never show up. Yeah? The Squandermania, I think that Mr. Braveboy dealt effectively with that particular issue. It was not an issue of him placing money into his pocket, but that he refurbished the Prime Minister's residence, the people's residence. That is what he used that money for. So if we're talking here, we could talk. We could talk about the good, we could talk about the bad, and so on. But with every human being, I think with every human being, there is good and there is bad. With every single human being. And at the end of the day, it won't be us. We won't have to weigh that individual. When the time comes that they have to face the maker is when that would be weighed. And in the instance of Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, there are so many positive things that he did, yeah, that I think that they far outweigh some of what he has been accused of in the past. And at a point in time like this, I prefer to focus on the positive of Sir Eric Matthew Gairy. If others want to focus otherwise, I can't help it, but I will focus on the positive things that he has done. All that was mentioned there, I would focus on that. We've got a call online. Hello, good night.
Sheldon, good night.
Good night, my dear.
In growing up, well, I know my parents was what you call bad Gairy rights, Sheldon.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the last election, 76 election,
mm-hmm.
when the GULP won. Well, what I want to tell you is that I don't want to call the place because I'm not sure of the place. So maybe the older heads who are wrong might verify the place.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it was said that, everybody calling him Uncle Gairy, Uncle Gairy, Uncle Gairy. And he was passing one day, and not too sure if it is Birch Grove or somewhere. And somebody called out, Uncle Gairy, Uncle Gairy, Uncle Gairy. He said, am I your mother's brother? When talking about diction, he had it. He had it. So everybody used to call him Uncle Gairy, Uncle Gairy, Uncle Gairy. But on that particular day, when the person called him, he said, am I your mother's brother? Because you know your mother brother is your uncle.
Yeah.
Right. So that's as much as I know about him, other than
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the other things that people try to make him look as though he wasn't anybody. Mm-hmm. As you were saying a while ago, the album. No, they try to I think stigmatize him with that album.
You've heard a lot of people.
That's what they try to do.
You've heard a lot of people who were at the upper levels of the revolution admit that a lot of what they said were lies and that it was basically to spoil his name. There are people that have come out and said that. So, I mean, there was no album. The same way that they keep speaking about tape with Dr. Mitchell, there's no album. And there was no album. Well, and that's the end of that.
Well, as it relates to Dr. Mitchell, even on, even this week on Mr. Pierre program,
mm-hmm.
Somebody call and tell him Mr. Pierre about the briefcase. Somebody call and tell Mr. Pierre. What Mr. Pierre says is that there are a lot of people walking around town with briefcase or certificates.
Mm-hmm.
So they call Mr. Prayer and ask him, telling him, you speak about people walking around with briefcase. Is it a briefcase that come out? Do you know? Yes, Mr. Pierre. Do you know where the briefcase came from? Mr. Pierre said, I don't know. Tell Mr. Pierre. Okay, that is the briefcase that came from Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
You remember? Switzerland. So they still have it in their head about Doc and the briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
So that is Sheldon. That was the humor part I remembered of Uncle Gairy.
All right. Okay. Thank you so very much, my dear. All right.
You're welcome.
440-7377. That's 440-7377. That is the number for you to get on to the inside. Yes, I do know I missed some calls on the WhatsApp, overseas line, and the local line. Right now, nobody ain't calling. So one of you all need to call right now. Let me see. I think I'm getting one on the WhatsApp. Let me go to the WhatsApp and see if I can bring that caller in. And oh boy, and one calling on the local line. So I'll come back to the local line in a short while. Call on the WhatsApp. Go right ahead. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Call on the WhatsApp. Okay, now it seems we have lost that one. Let me see if I can get one of the other lines, because let me see which one. Let me try this one. Hello, good night. Hello, good night.
Hello.
Hi, good night, caller. Go right ahead.
Hello.
Hi, good night, caller. You go right ahead.
Good night.
Good night, my dear. Come on, go right ahead, caller. You just go ahead. Go ahead. Don't listen the background. Talk to me on the phone. Go right ahead, my dear.
Okay. Okay, thanks. I just wanted to tell you that when Uncle Gairy was talking about the medical school, I was in Parliament that day, and Maurice Bishop said you would never to see a medical school come to Grenada. And now the medical school is the biggest revenue to Grenada. Uncle Gairy started the first preschool in Grenada. In the days gone by, black people children, poor people children couldn't walk in bank. Is when Uncle Gairy come and make poor people walk in bank. Uncle Gairy did a lot of things for Grenada. People don't remember, I'm an old woman, and when the flag was raising on the fort, I was in the choir.
So you could have sing, y'all.
So when you hear people saying things, though, we just have to, that the first preschool that started, Uncle Gairy that started it, and now everybody have preschool in Grenada. But they doesn't think about that. They don't think about that.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so very much for your input, caller. We love hearing from you. All right? Thank you so very much for your input.
You're welcome, my son. Have a blessed night.
All right. Thank you. And we hope to hear from you all again. Yeah? And this is a bit, and before I take any more calls, this is what I was, and I will be taking some more calls. Folks, I'm going to stick around for a little while. This is what I was speaking about last night when I said that a lot of the information that's there, the oral history, yes, you can write a book on Grenada's history, that's one thing. But there are varying perspectives of one point. Yeah? Because the people who are standing on the left would see something one way and the people on the right would see something totally different. Who is directly in front, who is directly behind, who stand up on top of a hill watching down, everybody would see things a little differently. And due to that, the oral history, the people who lived it, the people who were there. So the last caller was actually in Parliament when he was speaking about the SGU and so on, was there to hear the debate that took place. They were there on the fort when the flag was being raised and so for independence. They were part of the choir. So you're hearing from different people tonight who were at different aspects. And from what Dr. Modest was saying earlier, it's important to bring all of these people together and gather that history, digitize that history. Because when you're speaking with our children and so now, outside of speaking face to face to them, you need to have that digital way. And we need to store these things. So we need to digitally record and store these things. But you know what? Don't listen to me too much tonight. I want you all to hear everybody else that's trying to get through. And so let me go to the phone lines. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. You're a live caller. Go right ahead.
Yeah, hello, Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
You know, I heard a caller that spoke about 1976. No, the election 76 is when the voting age, when so Eric reduced the voting age from 21 years to 18. Right, that was when, so teenagers voted for the first time in the election of 1976. And we talk about black people working in bank in Grenada. John George of St. Patrick was the first black person to work in a bank in Grenada. During that time, it was not about your academic ability, but was about your color. So to work in a bank in Grenada, your skin had to be of a certain texture. And when John George applied for the work at the Royal Bank of Canada, and his application was turned down, then so Eric went to the bank manager, informing him of what he was told and why he should refuse that brilliant young man that job at the bank. And so it was said that the do I have to return? The manager then called John George, gave him the job. People used to go to town and go and ensure that they went to see for themselves that a black man working in a bank in Grenada. John George migrated, went to the United States, and became a gynecologist.
Wow. All right. Well, here you can give me a chance to ask our next question. This time he put on the phone one time. He take no chance for me to stick him this time. He put on the phone one time, and gone. 4407377. 4407377. That's the number for you to get on the inside. And we have a call online. Hello, good night.
Yeah, Sheldon, hello, good night.
Good night, my friend.
How are you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm quite fine, man. You're live, you go right ahead.
I digest in that program so much. I just feel that I had was to put in my trump card.
Yeah, go ahead, man. You could put in a card, but people might not just say Trump, but go ahead.
Uncle Gairy, to me, was one of the greatest individuals passing the Caribbean. I hear a lot of folks talking about Expo 69, but they still ain't going into detail that the younger ones would know exactly what was Expo 69. You know, I was a little boy them time, and trust me, it was a time of my life. You had all the Caribbean islands came in to represent the island, and every night was a different island or country night. And if I may say, I might out to corruption, but I think it's the first time Coney Island ever come to Grenada. And so Eric was such a visionary. And in my humble opinion, Sir Eric was the first man which bring to me A, B, and B to Grenada. Now we chomping up A, B, and B right about now as one of the biggest, establishment we have in terms of building up our room stock. But we forgot to talk about Carriacou cottages to tell you how visionary this gentleman was. All the buildings that were used in Expo 69 had brought him into Montrouge, where we now have the youth center and all this in around that circle. And Sheldon, when that buildings brought from Trublu to there, those buildings was the standing mark for weddings and anniversary celebrations and all these things. The people of that time, most of them would have get married and spend their honeymoon in that area there. So Eric Gairy was a visionary individual. If you go down to True Blue, to my observation, and you looked at the inverts or the road that's still in True Blue come from Expo 69. Look at the inverts, still creative and still operating. So in my humble opinion, my 2 cents, Eric Gairy was a visionary gentleman. And it's at least shameful for the way that, to me, he had been treated and failed to recognize. We need to teach our children our history. Thank you, Sheldon.
Of course, thank you. Indeed, 440-7377, that's 440-7377. And you can also call us on 347-329-3101. That's the other number you can give us a call on as well. I see a friend of mine was trying to reach me there. Let me see if I could reach my friend. Yeah, let me see if I could reach one of my friend and them that was trying to get to me there. Let me see if the line is working properly so that I can get to them. All right. Yes, indeed. And I think I have them there. Hello, good night.
Hi, Sheldon. Good evening.
Good evening, my dear. How are thou? I realize I missed your call.
Yes. Listen, I just want to tell you how pleased I am, how impressed I am with the program tonight. I think it's one of the best programs we've had by means of educating people, getting facts straight, and all that. I am just so impressed with that. And I'm glad you called me because I had to tell you. I had to tell you that.
I didn't even know that they call him for.
I'm going to make a request, and I'm sure I'll be speaking for many people, that this be continued so that we can, the interaction was so exciting, and a lot of things were spoken that especially the younger ones don't know about. And so I think it has stimulated us to do something really serious about that. And I heard you mention it, that we should table all these things, document all these things, and put it out there so that people can go online and they can look at the uncut, if there's a word, so history of Grenada, on whatever, when you get something that is not edited, there's a word they use for it. It just slipped me.
Like a raw footage?
Yes, but just the big history, the first-hand accounts that people give. I think that's the best thing in its pure form, So I really want to encourage that we do, and especially leading up to independence. I would love to have all these people, Mr. Braveboy and all these other historians, just come share with us, and then we ask questions, and then when they share like that, people remember things that happened before, and they will come out and share it as well. But this is an excellent show tonight, and I am mighty pleased, and I want to congratulate you on hosting something of that caliber that we don't hear about, that we don't see. Gairy was demonized. It was till one day when Clarence Charles was talking, and she explained that there was no dungeon with the blood, there was no, all these things they were talking about in Gairy's house, the album and all these things. I grew up believing that. I really did.
But I've heard some senior members of the people who were directly involved in spreading these things come back and say, well, they know it wasn't true, but they needed to put that thing out there to prepare the ground for what they needed to do.
And this is so shameful. It is very shameful,
Right.
So again, and then I want to just give my parliamentary rep a shout out. I heard her earlier. And I want to congratulate her on her years of service as the longest female parliamentarian, in Parliament.
And let's just add the proper word, Undefeated.
Undefeated.
Right. From the time she came in, undefeated. And once she defeated, you know, some fellas just kind of close the books, take the folder and put it under the arm and leave by 5 o'clock. Election day, they just go home. They don't stay to finish watch the count because they know they lose already.
That's right. That's right.
They didn't even wait until 6 or 5 o'clock to put in the folder under the arm and go home.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, so I really thank you again. And, you know, I wish that we will continue having a show of that caliber.
Yes, indeed.
You know, I think it's the best in Grenada right now.
All right, by there. We thank you, and it's all of you make it that way. Not
yes,
me,
and no
it's
matter
you all.
Whether I'm on the shores of Grenada or outside, I lock in.
Okay. All right, my dear. Thank you so very much.
Okay, welcome. Night.
All right. And folks, let's see if we could flip from one call to oops. Let's see if I was trying to flip from one call to another, but the lag is too long, so it's ringing. So let's see. Yes, we're still taking your calls, folks. We're not done yet. We're still taking your calls. Nice. Yeah, we're still taking your calls. Okay, so that one looked like a thing. We may have to go to the phone line instead. Hello, good night.
Hi, good night, Sheldon.
Good night, my dear.
Yes, Sheldon, I hope we do something serious with Mr. Brave Boy history. Because, you know, these old people dying out, these young and old that going now, we don't know when his hour will come. So we need to get this history from him and do a book that others people could get, especially the young people, that they could learn about Sir Eric Matthew Gairy. Now, I know Mount Royal when they had overthrown Gairy, because I hear they talking about this room that he had up there, and in a little room I saw he had a face basin there, and he had a red thing in it, and with some flowers around in that room. I don't know if they met it there or if it's them that put it there, you know. So I really don't know, but I saw that room inside there, because, you know, they overthrew, they were doing all kind of a thing. So I doesn't know how true it is. I was one that marched against the independent in 1974. I marched until my soul case come out. Run, Dale Hill Labino, run for your life. You know, and now I get old. I have to say that I had experienced a lot. And I remember when we had the meeting, Bishop and them had the meeting in Simmons. We marched and then we end up in Simmons, and Blaze came down and Blaze said that they didn't get the independence. So we were marching, and they had a meeting in Simmons. And then when Blaze said he didn't get it, and then Gairy came down and Gairy said, look at, he got the independence. So you see, then we were fooled. You know, I get older, I get bigger, and I get older, I learn more about politics. Okay, thank you, Sheldon.
All right, my dear. 440-7377. That was the number. That's the number for you to call to get on the inside. 347-329-3101. That's for those of you outside in the diaspora. Yes, you. Those of you, especially in North America, you can give us a call using that number. I think we're gonna go for about another 10 minutes or so. Yeah, we're gonna go for about another 10 minutes or so, and then we're gonna have to wrap for tonight. You know, I have to go and make sure the young one get to bed and all of that. So I must go. All right. So 440-7377, 347-329-3101. That's another one of the numbers for you to call and get on the inside. I don't know why all of a sudden my WhatsApp is acting up. Yeah, I don't know why all of a sudden the WhatsApp is acting up. Let me see if it will work now. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe the WhatsApp expect that at 10 it was supposed to close. I don't know. But let's see if it's working now. Hello, good night.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, good night, caller. You're live. Go right ahead.
You hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you. You go ahead.
I remember when Sir Eric Matthew Gairy came back to Grenada, and then he was thinking that house on is it St. Paul's, going up there? I kind of forgetting the name of the place practice. But he used to live in that house there, and he had some guys there, so he sent them out to buy bread. But that time he was losing his eyesight, so he gave them, I think, was a $20 bill, and they came back now. So when they came back now, he asked them the change. They said there is no change. You gave us a $5. So he didn't say nothing. He just leave it like that. So when the weekend reached and he has to pay them, he just deduct the money from it. And then another thing too. Well, my grandmother and them used to tell us, they were Garyites and things, and they love Uncle Gairy, because what happened, they said that he took them out of. They were weighing what you call what they used to get flour bag.
Yeah.
And tie the string in it, and they used to weigh that for underwear. They weigh these things. They call it bingo bag, or different names they call it. And they say it was Uncle Gairy that took them out of that. And that's how they're able to weigh like modern panties. They didn't know about these things. They used to have to take the flour bag and sew these things to wear. That man took the people out of poverty, real poverty. One time he was traveling and this woman was walking. I think she was carrying some heavy load and she was pregnant. She walking in the field. And he stopped and he said, no. What? He said, no, madam, put it down. You're not supposed to be carrying this load, I'm just kind of paraphrasing, kind of saying it in my own way, but that's what the story go. And he said, put it down. And he called a man, and said, no, a woman should not be carrying this under this condition. And I think he changed. He made certain thing, because I remember he was involved with the trade union and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, where that man took Grenada out of, he done a lot for Grenada. And that's why the people love him so much. And that man ruled for, I think, was 29 years. And they could not win by the ballot. The opposition could not win because the people love him. He was doing a good job, right? So that's why they had to have a revolution and overthrow him. Mm-hmm. So, you know what? They need to give this man honor. I was 11 years when independent. So good night. That's my piece.
Thank you so very much, my brother. Thank you so very
You're
much.
welcome.
Yes, indeed, folks. So as I said, we're going. Let me see. It's 10:14 now. So yeah, like about 10:25 or so. I'm gonna wrap. Yeah, about that time. So I'm gonna wrap. Cammy, where you? I ain't find I hear Cammy tonight. Cammy, where you? Yeah, my girl, Cammy. Nice. Let me see if I'll take one on the straight line. Hello, good night.
Sheldon?
Yes. Hello, good
Sheldon?
night. Hi, good night.
I know your time almost finishing, but you know what I want to point, and let me make it quick, is that in the days gone by, Uncle Gairy was a real good man. The government used to have a lot of states. What happens on Fridays, every Friday evening and Saturday evening, these trucks used to come down with a set of goods, provisions, and so on. Mm-hmm. And he had his people up in Montreal, and he put it in bags, and he distributing it to the poor, including envelope with cash in it. Mm-hmm. So that is how great this man is.
Indeed. All right, my brother. Thank you so very much.
Good.
All right. Oops, yeah, I was trying to answer one on the WhatsApp there. So let me see if I can get the one on the WhatsApp. Hello, good night. Hello.
So I've been trying. I've been trying to get to you a long time.
My brother, I didn't even realize. Sorry about that. But you go right ahead.
Quickly. I remember. I knew Sir Eric from a little child. He used to rub my head being in our house in town there. I remember that I didn't hear anybody mention that. Remember there was a national zoo?
Well, I wouldn't know of it. Yeah.
I wasn't even 10 years old yet. And a lot of my friends all of us in town, we went to the zoo, and our parents gave us a little change to pay to go to the zoo. There were so many of us outside, Suddenly, Sir Eric Gairy came out and he told the people, open the gate, let everyone go in. So I had my little change to buy my little snow cone and thing. So Eric Gairy said, come right in. So we went in for free. And one more thing before I go. When Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell honored Sir Eric Gairy as the father of the nation, I walked from the Limes down by Grandance to Queen's Park. Sitting there, when they introduced Sir Eric Gairy, those people who were there, they could tell me if I heard wrong. When he went up, he said, my son, addressing Dr. Mitchell. And everybody started laughing. Yes, I know Dr. Mitchell is Gary's son. And then Sir Eric paused. He said, my political son. Have a blessed night, sir.
All right. Thank you so very much. Yeah, I can't. I was trying to finish. That looked like I might have to go until 10:30. I tried to stop. God. Once the stories coming in, I find it very difficult to stop. So in fact, no, I ain't gonna go to the 10:30, but I'm gonna go up until about 10:25. So I'm gonna take some more calls. If folks have to call, they need to call now. Other than that, I'm going to close off. Yeah. If folks need to call, they've got to call now. I'm going to close off. One story that I heard, I don't know if anyone can tell me about that particular one, is the one where there was this person that had a dog in a particular area that was biting all the maids and the different guys who were going to do work in that wealthy area. There was this person that owned a home there, and they had this dog that was biting all the workers when they're passing and so on. And the people told Uncle Gairy about this person wouldn't tie the dog and so on. Uncle Gairy said, call the person in, and he said, I realize you have a dog, a racist dog, so you have an opportunity between either you leave or the dog leaves or you leave. So, but I don't have the full story on that one. We got to get that. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Hey, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Yeah, I know you're looking to go off, but I just wanted to mention
go ahead.
something that is very important with Uncle Gairy. You know, Uncle Gairy had this thing where they used to for the landless. And Sheldon, a lot of poor people end up with land that they could have walked and reap the produce. You understand? And then another thing in which you would hear they say the older people I'd love Uncle Gairy for again is that state of land for the landless. Just wanted to mention it. Good night, man, and thank you very much. Wonderful program. I love it.
Thank you so very much, my brother.
Okay.
440-7377. Yes, I am going up until 10:25. Well, you hold me tonight, boy. 44073. And we have a call on the line. Hello, good night.
Hey, Shalom, good night, bro. How are you?
Hey, I'm quite fine. You go right ahead.
Commend this program, and not only you, but all the people who are calling.
Yes, the callers are the ones making the program tonight. This is not me.
Sorry, brother?
The callers are the ones making the program tonight. It's not me.
I'm very, very fascinated by tonight's program and very impressed, with all the knowledge. And I think some people really would have to give God account for the mischief. I mean, so Eric, like everybody else, would have had his flaws. Sorry. Have had its flaws and so, but I mean, to demonize him as they did that, because I mean, I like history, and Mr. Bravo, I know him well, and we do chat and so, and he's the kind of person that just says and so. And I remember, I mean, if you didn't have your head on and heard stories outside of the narrative that was put out there, all you knew of Sir Gairy was of Mongoose Gang, Obia, wicked, brutal, dictator, all of such. That's all. And to this day, that is the narrative. Even if you, sorry, I haven't seen things on YouTube, like a documentary about Grenada, and this is what these foreigners have included in the script and parroting again. He was ruled by a dictator, and he was overthrown by the revolution and so on. So I think some people really have to give God account. And probably Judgment Day, when you hear the line hold up and you tiptoe into wonder what holding up the line there. So it's some of these people that have to give God account for what they're doing and even what they're doing to Dr. Mitchell now. Because I see Dr. Mitchell very much in the same vein, excuse me, the same vein as Sir Eric Matthew Gairy in terms of their love for people, the poor, how much they help people, the sacrifices they make for people, their sacrifices even, right? And I hope that on February 7th at the park, that some sort of prominent recognition is given to Eric by way of his family being there and being some citation read and some sort of something given to them on behalf of the nation, you know, to Sir Eric Gairy. Because to me, all the trend now, it seem to be sorry, my voice. He seems to be a coronation for the Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell. That is independence is all about. Our beloved Prime Minister, and everything is pointing to Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, who was no way in the struggle, has never struggled as Dr. Keith Mitchell or Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, has never even made any contribution of any significance to the Grenadian society and Grenadian people, right? People talk about being a lawyer. That's his profession. That's the way he earned his bread. But people who selflessly gave of themselves, as Dr. Mitchell and Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, he's in no league with these people. And shall I just maybe by way of suggestion, maybe on Friday we could have a special program to ostracize Sir Eric. Have no place for him in the planning and the calendar and thing. And we, the people of Grenada who know better, who love and who should give Dr. Eric Matthew Gairy the recognition he deserves. Maybe on the 6th, prior to the independence, we should have, if you're having a program, open the line, maybe get resource people, Mr. Brave Boy, maybe Mr. Jerry Owen, some people like that who can call in, who you can quiz, who you can ask questions, and give listeners and so an opportunity to give their 2 bits, their 2 cents, their 2 pence, and so to Sir Eric Matthew Gairy, as is being done tonight. Something along the line. But we, as I heard you say maybe yesterday, when that make it Sir Eric, get my voice, sorry, day, you know, some sort of, maybe on the 6th of February, we do that.
His birthday is on February the 18th or whatever day. Yeah. Right, thank you.
Hello?
Yes, indeed. We'll take one more call here. I'll have to run out, so I need to take one more call is what I'll be able to take. And caller, you're the final caller tonight. Go right ahead.
Wonderful, Sheldon. Sheldon, just to clear the air with this Mongoose gang thing, let me tell you. So Eric Gairy never had a Mongoose gang that is to do what he's saying. The gentlemen that they call the Mongoose gang was men who used to work with the Ministry of Health in the vector control going around the country setting mongoose traps. Them days they're going around and set and collect the traps. These men used to be doing that. It wasn't a gang that called themselves the Mongoose gang that Gairy had, right? They were supporters of Sir Eric Gairy. However, they were working on the Ministry of Health in the vector control area, going around the country, setting mongoose trap, and that is a fact. But the people then who had this greed for power, and by any means necessary, had to get it, fabricated a lot of things, and pushed things into having people believing that there was this mongoose gang, and that is the name of a gang. No. Another thing again, there was this plane ticket that they said that they had, that Gairy was going to leave the island and leave instruction to eradicate certain persons. That was a lie. A matter of fact, that service, that service that had that plane ticket is still alive today. I think it's still around today. I think the place renovated now, and I'm seeing Century 21 there. But that was fabricated. That was lies when they said that he had a plane ticket and they had it printed. They was able to do it because the people involved in that specific company was members of the revolution then. But it was a lie again. So I like what the person said before. A day when we could and vindicate Sir Eric Gairy for the many lies that was told about him and speak of the progress he brought to this country as the father of our nation, as was said by the doctor, the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much, my brother. And folks, that will have to be it. That will have to be it for tonight. It looked like I had to do another program sometime last week on this particular one. I might have to do okay, all right. One last one tonight. Caller, I'll tell the other caller that was the last one, but you're going to be the final caller tonight. Go right ahead.
Good night, Mr. Scott. And how are you?
And is that Carriacou?
Yes.
I didn't even
want
see.
to say thank you very much for a wonderful program tonight. It was brilliant listening to all these people and if these wonderful things happen to this wonderful gentleman in this country, Dr. Eric Gairy. That is wonderful. It's very, very, very educational. Unfortunately, I wasn't here in this country when all these things was happening. I was away. But I learned so much tonight, Mr. Scott. It is wonderful. What a great man we had. And we had to celebrate. So it's a wonderful time to do that. My God, what a wonderful, it's so much to be taken in. I said, oh my God, I should have a tape it on and listen to
It's
it
online.
and to replay it.
It's
but
online.
Never mind, YouTube will do that for me.
Yes,
I'll
indeed.
go back to YouTube. But I thank you. It is, to me, I was I'm in university tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting in class tonight, and it's very, very educational. Thank you to all your guests, everyone who phone up, and to expressing themselves to educate me, someone like me. So you take care.
All right. Thank you so
Have a
very much,
wonderful
my
night.
dear.
God bless
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
And folks, that is it. I'm not watching the light again, all right? Folks, in everything you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. Love each and every one of you. And we will definitely be back on Monday night, God's willing, with talking points for you once again. All right? And in any of the activities that are taking place, folks, I'm not saying don't take part. Take part in the activities. We are all Grenadians, yeah? It is our, not theirs, not some people own. It is our 50th anniversary of independence, and as such, as much as we can, we should participate in whatever activities are taking place. All right? So, I am out, and you know what, boy? Since we talk about Uncle Gairy and thing, let me give you a look. I am out.
The star shines brightly in the sky. We'll never let it down.
We shall never let a party fall, for we love it the best of all. We don't have to fight to show our might, 'cause when we start we will fight, fight, fight. With peace and love you'll hear us sing. God save a party, God save it, please. At the ending of the day, victory for all. We'll never let a party fall. We shall never let Grenada fall, for we love it the best of all. We don't want to fight to show our might, 'cause when we start we will fight, fight, fight. With peace and love you'll hear us sing. God save Grenada, God save it, please. At the ending of the day, victory for all. We'll never let Grenada fall.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Na, 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 na. Whoa. Dr. Rod, turn it up for Grenada. Yeah. My land that you celebrate 50. Some call you a little baby. Others say you Johnny come lately. Oh, yo. But they don't know about your history. All the things you have been through was too much for you. Yet you had resilience to stand them. Revolution, intervention, and crew. Yet you produce some beautiful children. This is the land that has famous people like Junior Murray. This is the land under St. Peter's and Champion Kirani. Land of